Hi everyone, it's Cindy from Cindy's Art. Good to be with you today. Let's get started. Today we're going to work on this ocean wave, and I'm going to teach it in 3 series. 3 classes, guys. So I'm using Fabriano's fat pad paper, and I cut my size down into a 4.5 by 6 for this picture. I use washi tape to tape my edges off. You always want to do that. This is my Holbein palette that I'm currently using. I love these colors, guys. And then I pulled this reference picture off of Pexels. Give credit to those who it's due. And this is the layout for my desk. My water, I've got salt on there, an old rag sponge, and my paper. I'm going to start this off by taping off the edges, and I go right up to the edge. I don't have an overlap on the top and the sides. And then once I tape that off, I'm going to use watercolor pencils, which erase with water, guys. No more lines. And I'm going to sketch out just the rough shoreline area of this, and then I want to use masking fluid next. And masking fluid is going to help cover the white foam and block it out while I paint. So I've shown you that I use this incredible nib. It's a wooden type of pencil. It's pretty awesome. I'm going to use a brush, and I'm going to use the nib, and I'm going to dip them in soap. I dip them in water, then I put the soap on where I'm going to be using the masking fluid, and I coat them up. Why? Because I'm protecting damaging my brushes or my tools. And when I'm doing this, I am simply dipping this soapy brush, and I let that thing dry with the soap on it, and then I dip it in the masking fluid, and I'm just throwing it on there. You don't have to be perfect. Just get this stuff on there, block out some of that sea foam. There's a lot you can do with sea foam simply by blocking it out. Don't worry if it's too much. And then heading into painting. So you're going to see me just continue to follow the sketch that I drew and get this seafoam covered. So I'm going to continue just working in the white spots and the white dots that I need to stay in this painting. And there's a point too where I will take the point of this little nib and I will like scrape it across the paper. And what I'm doing is creating texture. I'm just doing something different to give a different look right there. And then don't be afraid to try twigs or sticks to do the same thing I just did. Once you're done with that stuff, rinse your brush, rinse off that stick, and get that junk off of it. Then dump your water out, get some fresh area. So now I'm going to go ahead and move in to painting some of the water. Now that I've wet that paper, that water area down, I'm going to prep my colors. And I'm always thinking that I'm always going to clean my brush with water. Then I'm going to get the color. I'm going to put it in the pan. So I'm using Horizon Blue, a little bit of Verditor. I'll list it below for you. And I'm always thinking light, medium, and dark. I want blues, and I want to vary the colors. So I'm going to get some greens. I might even have a little bit of orange in there. So I want to add in this first layer of color. This has got to be really, really wet, not sopping wet, but it's got to be wet. I want this, and the reason why is I want the paint to spread. Now I'm going to grab some ultramarine blue mixed with some marine, and I'm just going to dab this in there. When I look at the photo, the dark spots are not all in one spot. They're not nice and neat. And what I'm looking at is the darks and the lights at this point, and I just want to dab it on the paper. And you can see, because I've got that washi tape, I can grab hold of the edge sides of the paper. Not only do I have a frame, but my oil from my hands are not going to get on that paper. if you get oil from your fingers on your paper, it will kind of ruin it. It blocks it from absorbing things. So I put a little bit of Veriditer green, and this green in here I've mixed with some yellows. It would be an Aurelian yellow with a little bit of marine. That's what I would have done with that one. So I'm just going to continue to dab the colors. Take a look. I do not have this color all smooth, light out. I want it to run. It's wet enough where this paint is going to spread when I put it in it. And this is playtime right here. I am playing. I am not being too fussy with this. I am just wanting to get the colors in there, let them bleed, and I don't put one color on top of the other. I want gaps. And that's because in the photo, there's gaps. There's light, there's medium, there's dark. The only way you're going to get that is dab the color on and make sure when you put another color on, give it some space. Don't put it next to each other. Don't put it on top. So on this first layer, all I want you to do is look at that reference photo, get an idea of where those darks are, dab, 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 dab in some of that dark, and then remember you want some really nice bright colors. Now, I'm not going to be too fussy on this first layer. I want to get the dark and the light on there so I can see it. Then I'm going to let it dry, and I would highly recommend letting it dry for at least 30 minutes. You can get a hair dryer out and you can dry it. It's fine. This paper is cotton. Basically, it's just cotton. So it can handle the heat and it can handle that. So I'm going to finish this up, adding these colors. I'm protecting this light. I am not trying to paint perfectly. I'm just dabbing colors on. That dry really, really well. Now I'm going to move on to layer 2. Whenever I add another layer of color, I'm building something, and I'm building vibrancy. I'm going to make this look nice and rich and deep. That's why my pictures come out that way, is because I do work with a lot of layers. So I'm adding water on. I'm going to make sure that there's enough water on here that when I put paint on, it's going to spread. And this layer, I have more paint on my brush. It's wet on wet, but I've got a little bit more paint in there. And then you can see me using a spray bottle. I'm making a really easy way for me to get that paint to run. There's a lot of water on this surface, and there's times where I'm going to dab up some of that extra water, but I am doing what's necessary in order to get another layer of color, and I want it vibrant. So that is like a pure horizon blue that I am putting on there. The green will be vibrant. All the colors in here, like I'm using ultramarine right now, and there's a little bit of indigo in there, and it's vibrant, it's thick, and it's wonderful because as you add it, it's just going to add richness to this painting. So I like the way my colors have turned out. Guys, let me know how you're doing with this longer video. So here's the hair dryer. Simple little portable hair dryer I got on Amazon for like 10 bucks. It's really cute, small, and works wonders. So after I get that done, I'm going to add a third layer on, and on this layer, again, I'm using more paint, but I'm looking to see what does this painting want. Do I have enough of the sand showing through, or the depth of the ocean? And this is where I'm going to add that in. We're just about wrapped up for this first part of this demonstration. I should say it's a tutorial for how long it is. And you can see how I've used the hair dryer to dry this up. Take a look at it just to make sure I feel like I've got enough color and vibrancy. We're going to work on the sand for the next part. So I appreciate you joining me for this part 1, and if you enjoyed this video and you're enjoying my channel, please subscribe. I'd love to see you in the future, and I always want to see your work. We'll see you in part 2.